Welcome to Science's Curiosity. With just one simple click, kindly subscribe to our channel for more updates. Are you curious to know how the inside of NASA's new $18 billion spacecraft that will fly to the moon and later carry astronauts with its 4 adjustable seats, radiation lockers and a state-of-the-art toilet look like? 50 years have passed since man first walked on the moon. You would be forgiven for thinking NASA's new lunar spaceship hasn't changed much from those heady days in the 60s and 70s. Although it retains the same conical shape that Apollo capsules had, Orion is vastly different inside and features technology that could scarcely be imagined when Neil Armstrong first stepped onto the lunar surface half a century ago. Science's Curiosity takes a closer look inside the spaceship to see what features it has and how comfortable it will be for astronauts, as well as Commander Moonikin and Snoopy on the Artemis I flight when they travel to the moon and ultimately beyond to Mars. Orion was built to take humans farther than they've ever gone before, ultimately paving the way for a trip to Mars. It is America's replacement for the Space Shuttle and the Artemis program. The first mission, called Artemis I, will fly further than any spacecraft built for humans has ever flown, as it tests the Space Launch System (SLS) and Orion before astronauts are allowed to crew Artemis II for a loop around the moon in 2024. The third flight will return humans to the moon in 2025, possibly including the first woman and first person of color. Artemis is the successor to the Apollo program, which saw Neil Armstrong and 11 other men step foot on the surface of our only natural satellite in the 1960s and 70s. Orion sits atop the 322 feet, 98 meters tall Space Launch System (SLS), which will be the most powerful space rocket ever to leave Earth when it blasts into orbit. But the spacecraft itself is actually made up of 4 parts, including the crew module, which is capable of carrying 4 astronauts and their cargo. There is also the spacecraft adapter which attaches Orion to the SLS. It may look on the outside like the capsule that carried Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins to the moon in 1969, but Orion is actually over 1.5 times larger than its Apollo equivalent. The spaceship's habitable volume is 316 cubic feet, 8.95 cubic meters, and it can carry 4 astronauts rather than 3, with adjustable seats that can be folded up when not in use to make more room. In total, Orion is 11 feet, 3.3 meters high and 16.5 feet, 5 meters in diameter. It can provide living space on missions for 4 astronauts for up to 21 days without docking to another spacecraft. Orion has 3 display screens with a total of 67 switches. For comparison, astronauts on the Space Shuttle were presented with 10 display screens and more than 1,200 switches, dials and gauges. The reason there are far fewer on Orion is because advanced software is carrying out many of the tasks that there were previously switches for on the Space Shuttle. Although the sophisticated display and control system allows the crew to fly manually, Orion's flight computers, which are based on a type used in commercial airliners, are able to look after navigation and other critical operations without the need for humans. Well, there's actually a state-of-the-art toilet on board. It is based in the hygiene bay and designed to make it easier for both men and women. The Universal Waste Management System was designed to address astronaut feedback about comfort and ease of use. In the absence of gravity, space toilets use airflow to pull urine and feces away from the body and into the proper receptacles. A new feature of the Universal Waste Management System is the automatic start of airflow when the toilet lid is lifted, which also helps with odor control. And yes, like on the space station, astronauts do drink their own urine after it is filtered and processed. About 90% of all water-based liquids on the space station, including urine and sweat, are recycled. You may be a little less familiar with these things. But radiation becomes a problem for humans going to the moon because they have to leave the protective magnetic bubble that surrounds Earth. It means astronauts are exposed to roughly 3 times the radiation dose per day that they receive on the International Space Station, which sits within the bubble. Among the deadly threats they face are solar particle events, which occur when the sun releases clouds of charged particles into space and are dangerous to humans because they increase the long-term risk of developing cancer or cardiovascular disease. If one of these events occurs, such as a solar flare, crew members will be told to climb down into the stowage lockers. Each locker is 3 feet (0.9 meters) deep and can accommodate. Orion has window shades that can be deployed to block out sunlight, along with sleeping bags that allow astronauts to comfortably strap themselves to a spot in the spacecraft for weightless sleep. A mannequin named after former NASA engineer Arturo Campos will fly aboard the Orion spacecraft during the Artemis I mission. Arturo Campos was an electrical power subsystem manager for the Apollo 13 lunar module, and his heroics were crucial for returning the 3 astronauts on board back to Earth. Orion is attached to the cylindrical European Service Module, ESM, which supplies air, water, electrical power and propulsion. As the crew module falls to Earth, a total of 11 different parachutes are deployed to slow the vehicle down to the speed of 17 miles per hour required to safely splash down in the Pacific Ocean. Kindly subscribe for more updates.